Okay, let's talk about differentiation from first principles. And yeah, I know, just hearing that phrase can sound a little intimidating, especially with all the limits and fractions that usually tag along. But I promise you, by the end of this, we're going to see that it's all just a simple, repeatable recipe that you can totally master.
So, what's the big problem we're even trying to solve here? I mean, finding the steepness, the gradient of a straight line, that's easy, right? It's the same everywhere. But what about a curve, where the steepness is changing literally every single moment? How in the world do you find the gradient at one single exact point? Well, that's the big question that differentiation was born to answer.
And this is the beast that's going to help us do it. This is the formal definition of the derivative. And yes, I get it, it looks like a complete mess. You've got that lim thing for a limit, you've got a crazy-looking fraction with this mysterious letter h all over the place. But here's the key. Don't see it as a problem. Think of it like a machine, a powerful one. We just need to figure out the right buttons to push. What pops out of this machine is something called the derivative, which we write as f prime of x, and we say that out loud as f prime of x. Now, the really cool thing here is that the derivative isn't just one number. It's a whole new function, a gradient function, that basically acts like a universal remote for finding the steepness of our original curve at any point we want. So, how do we use this thing without getting totally lost in the weeds? Well, we're going to use a simple recipe, a 6-step plan that, and this is the best part, works every single time no matter how messy the function looks. Let's walk through it.
So here it is, our 6-step recipe. Step 1, you just write down the formula. Step 2, you figure out what f of x plus h is. Step 3, you plug it all in. And then step 4, this is the big one, you simplify the top. And here's a little secret, a magic check. Everything without an h has to cancel out. If it doesn't, you know you've made a mistake somewhere. Step 5, factor and cancel out h. And finally, step 6, apply that limit. This is the exact game plan we're going to use from here on out.
All right, let's start at level 1, just to build up some confidence. We're going to test our recipe on a nice, simple straight line, g of x equals 2x minus 3. Now, we already know the gradient of this line is 2, right? It says so right there. So if our 6-step recipe is legit, the final answer has to be 2. Let's see if it works. All right, step 3, we're plugging everything into the formula. So for g of x plus h, we swap in 2 times x plus h minus 3. Then, we subtract the original function, which is 2x minus 3, and pay really close attention to those brackets around the second part. That minus sign out front is super important. It's going to change the signs of everything inside. Now for step 4, let's simplify that top line. We expand everything out and we get 2x plus 2h minus 3, and then minus 2x plus 3. And look at that. Just like our recipe promised, the magic check works. The 2x cancels the minus 2x, the minus 3 cancels the plus 3. Poof, everything without an h is gone. Perfect. So that leaves us with the easy part. After all that cancellation, we're just left with 2h on top and h on the bottom. The h's cancel out, leaving us with the limit of just 2. Well, there's no h left to worry about, so the answer is simply 2. See? The recipe worked perfectly. Okay, time to level up. Let's try a quadratic curve. G of x equals minus x squared. Now, the algebra is definitely going to be a little bit trickier here, but here's the cool thing. Even though the function looks more complicated, our 6-step recipe, it stays exactly the same. We follow the exact same process. Okay, let's zoom in on that numerator, because that's where the action is. First, we expand minus x plus h squared. That gives us minus all of x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. Then we subtract the original function, which was minus x squared. And what do you know? Our little safety check works again. The minus x squared and the plus x squared, they cancel right out, leaving us with just minus 2xh minus h squared.
And that right there, that cancellation leads to probably the single most important tip in this whole process. Seriously, it's like your safety net. As you're simplifying that numerator, if you have any term left over that doesn't have an h attached to it, that is your giant red flag to stop and go check your algebra. Something went wrong.
Okay, our check worked, so we know we're on the right track. Now it's time for step 5, factoring out that h. We can pull a common h out of both terms on the top, which leaves us with h times the quantity minus 2x minus h. This is the whole reason we do this step. It lets us set up that all-important cancellation.
With the h factored out, the one on top cancels with the one on the bottom. Now, finally, we can apply the limit. We just let that remaining h inside the brackets turn to 0, and bam! What's left? Our derivative, minus 2x. The recipe holds up, even for a curve. All right, you ready for the boss level? Level 3, a fraction.
We're going to tackle p of x equals minus 2 over x. Now this one's going to throw a new little algebraic trick at us, but guess what? Our recipe can still handle it. We just need to add one little tool to our toolbox for this simplification step.
So here's the deal. When you substitute into the formula and you end up with fractions up in that numerator, you can't simplify until you combine them. And how do you combine fractions? You got to find a lowest common denominator. For our two little fractions, that's going to be x times x plus h. Trust me, getting this common denominator is the absolute key that unlocks this entire problem.
Okay, so after we find that common denominator and simplify the top, the minus 2x and the plus 2x cancel out beautifully, leaving us with just 2h on top of our new denominator. Now the whole thing is still sitting over that original h from the formula, so we have a fraction on top of another fraction. Kinda messy, right?
So how do we fix this? Easy. Instead of dividing by h, we just multiply by its reciprocal, which is 1 over h. It's that old keep, multiply, flip trick from back in the day. And doing that is what neatly lets us finally get those h's to cancel out.
And once those h's cancel out, we are in the clear. Now we can apply the limit. We let that leftover h in the denominator become 0. That leaves us with 2 on top and x times x on the bottom, which of course simplifies to our final answer, 2 over x squared. We have conquered the fraction.
Okay, deep breath. We've wrestled with all this algebra, we've followed the recipe, and we've got these answers. But so what? What does it actually mean when we say the derivative of minus x squared is minus 2x? Let's connect all the dots.
This, right here, is the whole point. Our derivative, g prime of x equals minus 2x, is now a gradient machine for our original curve. You want to know how steep the original curve is at, say, x equals 3? Easy. You just plug 3 into your new derivative function. G prime of 3 is minus 2 times 3, which is minus 6. That's it. That's the steepness at that exact spot. This new function gives us that power for any point we could ever want to know.
And one last thing, just a bit of housekeeping. Notation. You're going to see the derivative written in all of these different ways. F prime, y prime, dy over dx. They all mean the exact same thing. And hey, a little pro tip if you're doing this for a class, teachers are super picky about this. You have to keep writing lim h approaches 0 on every single line until that very last step where you actually sub in the 0. It's a small thing, but it's worth a lot of marks.
So there you have it, a powerful, reliable recipe that lets you find the gradient function for anything right from the ground up from first principles. It is the absolute bedrock of calculus. But let's be honest, it's a lot of algebra, isn't it? Which leads to one last, very important question. Now that we understand why it works, is there a shortcut?